Good morning to you. It is Tuesday the 6th of August. This is Kay Adams with you till 12 on BBC Radio Scotland. Positive results from a weight loss programme run by NHS England.
The year-long programme starts with 12 weeks on a 900-calorie-a-day diet of soups, shakes and meal replacement bars, followed by support and advice on exercise and the reintroduction of nutritious normal meals.
Yeah, apparently a third of people on that have managed to lose enough weight to reverse their type 2 diabetes. So very successful results, with 60% of Scots overweight or obese, at an annual cost to NHS Scotland of £600 million. Should the NHS really be pushing the soup and shake diet? Would you be up for it? There are no end of choices, are there? Perhaps that is part of the problem. Coming up between now and noon, he's been in the public eye since he was a lad, and he's now relaunching his podcast.
The show is the show about nothing until it isn't. It's me and three of my best mates. We just hang out and talk, and somehow important stuff comes up.
Yep, child actor, pop presenter, documentary maker, all-round good guy, Reggie Yates. We'll be speaking to him very shortly.
Another sunny day, another bright blue sky, another day, another young brother died. These are the things
Mr. Blue Sky will be bringing himself into the studio. Brian Gilmore, of course, our property expert. Any questions that you have about property, fire them into Brian. 08085 92 95 00. You can also WhatsApp a message on that number, or indeed a wee voicemail. I love a wee voicemail. Or you can text 80295. All is not well in the Olympic Village. American gymnast Hesley Rivera.
I definitely think French food is good, but what we're having in there I don't think is the best.
This is sacrilege, is it not? French food is good? Is it not supposed to be the best? Well, it doesn't seem to be the best in the Olympic Village. We'll find out what's going on there. And have you just had enough?
I'll work, baby, I'll work.
Enough for work, yeah? 40, is that the magic number for women in particular to jump off the career ladder and say, I've had enough?
Live from BBC Pacific Quay.
Across the United Kingdom and the world.
This is what they want.
This.
Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
But listen, before we get into our first Name the Place quiz, we need to talk about...
How do you like?
What's that cooking on the griddle? Whipped up and beaten. It's eggs, woo! Throw some fixins in the middle. So good for eating. It's eggs, woo! I see within this fluffy fold the scrambled nature of my soul. I'm cracking up as I begin to see the bits of me within this omelet. Omelet.
Well, how about round like a bloomin' billiard ball, eh? How about that? Have you seen, and I mean this is difficult, well it's not difficult on the radio actually, because I'm just telling you, this woman in Ayrshire got a surprise in her shopping this week, opened the wee egg box and there was an egg, regular chicken's egg, round like a bloomin' billiard ball. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Apparently, it is a 1 in a billion discovery, and it's actually now, interestingly, been put up for auction. And they're expecting to get around £500 for. I mean, what is anyone going to do with this round egg for the 500 quid? That is going to be a very, very well. It's not going to be an expensive breakfast. They're not going to break the blooming thing. What they're going to do? Just wait till it goes rotten. So many questions. So many questions. But anyway, got us thinking, as we love to do, about the strange things that the natural world has thrown at you. A perfectly round egg. Hannah in the office actually produced a photograph this morning of a double mushroom that she had got in her shopping, and I thought, you actually taken a photograph of that. That was slightly worrying, but never mind. She was very impressed, and she got one huge egg and one wee egg. And another member of our team has had a baby pepper within a normal sized pepper. Now you might think they just need to get out a bit more, and I might think that too, but I am asking you, they're shaking their head at me, what do the strange things that the natural world has thrown at you. We're going back to Esther Ranson and her funny vegetables, I think. I can see Reggie Yates waiting, so we better get on with our first clue for Name the Place. Time is of the essence. Name the Place, our quiz that we do every Tuesday. You know it very well, I'm sure. It's our treasure hunt on the radio. I've got a set of clues here devised by Professor Carol Huff, Professor of Onomastics at Glasgow University, which are usually absolutely mind-boggling. Quick cast my eye over them. Yeah, they're very much mind-boggling. They should all lead you to one place in Scotland, and when you manage to work it out, or when somebody gets the correct answer, we will hear this. Yes, that is the clever klaxon, but we'll keep on giving you the clues right till the end when Carol does the big reveal just before 12. Are you ready for your first clue? Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. That could take you in all sorts of directions, but as you know, it's a bit of a process of elimination, so get guessing. 80295 is the text number. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. George Harrison.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. But it's gonna take money. A whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time. Whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right, child. I got my mind set on you. 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 And this time I know it's real. The feeling that I feel. I know if I put my mind to it, I know that I really can do it. I got my mind set on you. Set on you. I got my mind set on you. Set on you. But it's gonna take money. Whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time, whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time to do it, 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 to do it right.
You weren't really listening to that track by George Harrison, were you? You were thinking, today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. Queensferry, what? That's the first clue for today's name, the place. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. Just a couple of guesses in. Renfrew, nope, strike that off your list. Grangemouth, nope, strike that off your list. Well, I never like anyone striking Grangemouth off the list. My hometown, but it's not the answer to today's name, the place, so I'm going to leave you a little while with that one clue. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. 80295 is the text number. Now, from child actor to Top of the Pops, documentary maker, podcaster, Reggie Yates has spent most of his life in the spotlight. Now age 41, he and his three mates are hoping to put the world to rights as he relaunches his podcast, and he joins us today. Welcome, Reggie. How are you?
Feeling a lot older than I thought I would at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Yeah, thanks for the reminder of my last birthday.
Oh, really? You don't like 41?
No, do you know what? I'm actually really enjoying it. It's weird, the calm that sort of sets in after your 40th. I think as a guy, you spend your entire 20s running around and using all your energies, your 30s denying that you're actually tired and just embracing it in your 40s. So I'm just tired and I love it.
It's funny, actually, because later on in the show, we're going to be talking about, I wouldn't say it's a trend as such, but anecdotally, of women getting to their 40s and in a career sense deciding, do you know what, I've had enough, I'm jumping off. So maybe there's something different going on there, because you're certainly not jumping off the career ladder, are you? I mean, you've got so many things going on. The podcast, it's a relaunch, so why are you picking it up again?
Well, I think that myself and the guys that I make the show with, we're in a very different place in our lives, and we're really enjoying the idea of being able to share that. So, I mean, I've described it a few times now on interviews and things like this as the show about nothing until it isn't. And essentially the podcast has my name, but it's very much a show about me and my friends. So I have a friend of mine, Uzo, a friend of mine, Bubba, and a friend of mine, Owen. We've all known each other for years. And we started the show in 2018 and ran it till 2020. And I think we were the only podcast that decided not to double down during lockdown. We actually decided to take a break. And I think that is very much indicative of what makes us different. We're a show about real human beings, not presenters or podcasters or wannabe celebrities. We're a group of friends that actually have real lives and talk about them. And I think that's the really cool thing about what we've actually built. While we were gone, we had so many friends reach out to us and so many people who listened to the show saying that they missed us because we became their friends that they would check in on every week. And that's the point. It's a friendly conversation that people join the table for every single week. But the beautiful thing about the conversation that we're having is that it can be about absolutely nothing. We can be laughing and joking 1 minute and then having a very serious conversation about mortality the next, because my friends are just weird like that. And for some reason, people are really tuning in. And I think at this moment, we are overwhelmed with podcasts. There are so many. And when we started, don't get me wrong, podcasts were a thing, but there was nowhere near as many as there are now.
Yeah.
And the reason that we started it was because we just got a bit bored of men being presented in the same way, particularly in media and also in podcasting, where you were either embarrassing and gross and making terrible jokes about women, or you were a manly man and talking about hunting. And we definitely aren't doing either of those things. And we're somewhere in the middle, like most normal guys are.
It's potentially, well, when I say dangerous, I don't really mean it in that sense, but if you know each other so well and you're in that podcast studio, which is very different. I mean, like you, I kind of jump in and out of broadcast and podcast. It's a very different atmosphere. And particularly when you're surrounded by friends, have you ever found yourself having conversations that you think, oh, this is getting really quite deep, and maybe we don't want to go there and put it out to the world?
Well, thankfully, we're not live, so...
Right, okay, you can have a rethink.
We can definitely edit on a listen with fresh ears. But honestly, whenever we have that feeling in the room, we sort of lean into it. We were having a conversation about my friend's terrible pink jumper the other week, and then all of 3 minutes later, it became a conversation about him raising his first son without his father around. So being a dad without having a dad because his father passed away became a really important conversation. And to hear guys be able to talk about mortality without it being overworthy or, you know, overly dramatic, the messages I've received alone from that one conversation have been incredible, because I think there is a lot of stigma around men having conversation, and we're led to believe that men don't want to talk. And I think that that certainly has been the case, but not for my generation of men. You know, we are the therapy generation. We are very much the people in touch with our feelings. We are the men that talk to our wives and talk to our partners. And I just don't think that that man has been presented who is capable of being that person, but also obsessed with Bukayo Saka. Like, we're allowed to be both, you know, and that's what the show is.
Yeah, but also interesting that you want to represent like the men in the middle, if you like, the ordinary guys, because the nature of celebrity or trying to get listens or trying to get press or whatever is that you tend to do something extreme, you know, and as you said, it tends to be the alpha males, and we know that there's lots of very negative influences within the male sphere, but they get attention. Is it okay, your name's attached to it and you're always going to get attention, but is it difficult for men to get attention for just ordinary conversations?
You know, I won't speak for anyone else, but I think for us, that's been the really beautiful thing about it. We have this really lovely core fan base that came quite organically 6 years ago. And now new people are finding us in a really lovely sort of word of mouth way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm on BBC Radio Scotland. So we are shouting about it a little bit. Yeah. So we're telling people about the show. But there is this gorgeous organic thing that's happening where, funnily enough, 70% of our listeners are female. And a lot of the feedback that we're getting is that it feels like they are able to eavesdrop on a conversation that their boyfriends or their husbands or their brothers have always had that they haven't been included in, which for me, I think is hopefully doing people a lot of favours in their homes.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the other things that you've been involved with over the years. I mean, as I said, you started off as a child actor and you've gone through various kind of iterations, but certainly over the last decade, some of your documentary work, you know, with teen gangs, extreme South Africa going into white slums, you're in Russia, extreme UK. I say this in the nicest possible way. You're a curious person, Reggie, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, there was an interview that I did a few years ago, I think it was with the Financial Times, and the headline was, does Reggie Yates have the weirdest career in television history? And I think they might be right, because I've done everything from, you know, interview heads of state and also being the voice of a Jamaican crime-solving mouse called Rasta Mouse. And I don't think that there's many people that can claim that.
It's quite broad.
And I embrace those things, you know. My journey on screen and now behind camera has been over 30 years, and I'm only in my 40s. I started super young, but now as a filmmaker, because what takes up the majority of my time today is writing and directing film, rewriting other people's movies, working in Los Angeles quite a bit. All of that has influenced the way in which I write, because ultimately telling stories is what really excites me and what I really enjoy doing. But everything that I've learned from hosting Radio 1 for a decade, or hosting Top of the Pops, or even being on something like Doctor Who and doing press for that and talking to people about those kinds of that kind of work that I've done at the time, you learn how to speak to large audiences while still retaining a level of authenticity and, most importantly, retaining a sense of self. And that, for me, will always be the most important thing. You know, we're not hoping to become a #1 podcast overnight. I don't see Joe Rogan slipping any minute soon. But what we do aim to do is find our tribe and find our audience. And week on week, we seem to be doing that.
Do you talk about what's going on in the world? Because obviously in the UK at the moment we have a very febrile situation, and you know, you are yourself the son, I mean, of immigrants. Is that something you would tackle in your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we literally record in 2 days' time, so that is definitely going to be top of the agenda. But again, it's how you come at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we will have an honest and heartfelt conversation about it, because it affects us, it affects how we feel, it affects how we navigate our lives as human beings. But, you know, we had a conversation on the last episode about Kamala Harris and Trump and what's happening in America. And we obviously went through it as, you know, two of the four guys on mic, myself not included, are parents. So we spoke about it from a really interesting perspective. But then, you know, we're not a politics show, which is why the conversation suddenly veered into how amazing it would be to be a first husband and how much fun it would be to have your wife as the leader of the free world. And then we just got into the laws that we would introduce. And that's the nature of the show. Yes, we are going to talk about things from the perspective of a group of men who have lived a bit and seen some things. But we're also not trying to hit anybody over the head and be over messaging. We're not political, you know?
So how has the last week made you feel?
I think like everybody else, just really upset and really sad. I saw an incredible interview with a woman, I believe, in Liverpool, who said the people that are doing this aren't us. The people that are doing this aren't from this area. They're not of the same mindset as us. And I think that's what a lot of people are feeling. You know, I think if you ask anybody who is a child of an immigrant or connected to an immigrant or a minority community, all you need is half a brain to recognize that we are talking about a very loud and a very violent minority here. What is happening is not reflective of the general British attitude. I think we are generally, widely, shall I say, condemning the behavior that we've seen. So I don't think this is a case of us against them when it comes to minority people in the rest of the country. I think it's a case of people that are outraged and those that have suddenly popped up with a perspective that just is upsetting and unfortunate. And I think the most important thing that we start to do is ask the question, why? I think we're all on the same page that the deplorable behavior that we've seen is not reflective of what we as the UK stand for. But what I think we should begin discussing is why this is happening and where it's come from.
Well, we'll have to listen into your podcast to find out further your thoughts on that one. Yes, Reggie. It is the Reggie Yates podcast and was released on Monday, 15th of July. So you've got back episodes to enjoy, with new episodes being released every Thursday and a wee bonus on a Sunday. Reggie, thank you very much. It's been lovely to speak to you. Thank you.
Raining, others have sunshine. We still love the summer, it's really mighty fine. Chris and all the team are here, we're still the best of course. So grab a 99 with lots of strawberry sauce. The Chris Moyle Show, other types of ice creams are available.
Oh, you've been trying your wee hearts out with just one clue on today's Name the Place quiz thus far. I'm about to give you another one, actually. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. That was clue number 1. Alan in East Kilbride is suggesting White Inch. Frank in Edinburgh is going for Erskine. They are both wrong. Strike them off your list. Earlsferry is another one coming in. Colin Trave, and that's from Elsie in Bearsden. And Elsie always says, please say I'm right today, okay? Elsie, I'm sorry I can't, but listen, it's early doors. It's only 10:30 and we've still got a load of clues to come, so maybe you will work it out. Kingsford or King Wells in Aberdeenshire, that's from Stevie B in Tarves. Is it Stromferry? No ferry. Oh yeah, get you. That's from Dave. No, it's wrong. Grace says Calendar. Kylakin, that's from Julie in Letham. None of those are correct, so let me give you another clue. So, first clue I gave you, today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. Clue number 2, it also has something in common, wait for it, folks, with Auchenshoogle. We've been waiting for this moment, haven't we? It also has something in common with Auchenshoogle. How fabulous. 80295 is the text number. Keep on guessing. Carol Huff will be here just before 12 to do the big reveal. Also coming up before 12...
Work, work, work.
I'll work. I'll work. I'll work. Baby, I'll work.
Is 40 the magic number for women to quit their jobs and change direction? Reggie Yates was saying that 40 was a big one for him. He's just tired. Oh, that's a shame, isn't it?
You won't find him drinking at the table. Staying out till 3. You won't ever find him being unfaithful. You will find him, you'll find him next to me. can't seem to find no help or love for free. I know there's no need for me to panic, 'cause I'll find him next to me. When the skies are gray and all the doors are closing, and the rising pressure makes it hard to breathe, when all I need is a hand to stop the tears from falling, I will find him, I'll find him next to me. Next to me. Ooh, next to me. Ooh, next to me. Ooh, I will find him, I'll find him next to me. When the end has come and buildings falling down fast, when we spoiled the land and dried up all the sea, when everyone has lost their heads around us, you will find him, you'll find him next to me. Next to me. Ooh, next to me. Ooh, next to me. Ooh, you will find him next to me. Next to me. Ooh, next to me.
All the conversation.
Who in the blue hell are you?
Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
Just walked into the studio bringing his own particular brand of sunshine. Brian Gilmore from Indigo Square Property. I haven't seen you for ages. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. The big thing for me is somebody's allowed me to have a cup of tea in this room.
Oh, you're not usually allowed.
Well, I don't allow myself because the amount of times
you
I've
don't
done
trust
things like
yourself.
I've kicked the mic or I've banged it with my hands. Or
Though it has to be said, it's sitting on a table that's so far away from you that you can't reach it, which kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it, Brian? It really
Yes.
does. So back for the property surgery. Brian's taking calls from 11, but the lines are open now. 08085 92 95 00 is the number. You can also leave a WhatsApp voice message on there or just a straightforward message. And you can also text 80295. I did think, so Brian and I were having a wee chat just underneath Emily Sandy there. Forgive me, Emily. And I thought he was about to make a grand pronouncement, a grand prediction about interest rates, because, of course, everyone's talking about interest rates, when they're going to come down. And Brian said, I'll tell you, by the spring, interest rates are going to be a bit lower. It was a complete damp squib.
Well, actually...
You got me all excited.
Yeah, well, they've just come down by 0.25%. Right, so that's beneficial. There's discussion about, or there's forecast about whether they will be lower again by the end of the year, and the general consensus is that they might be down. Currently, they've gone from 5.25% to 5%, and general consensus is certainly by the end of next year, there'll be somewhere between 4 and 3.5%.
Are we putting out the bunting for that?
Well, if you're a borrower, considering that, you know, there was talk of them peaking at 6.25% at one point, then we're looking at, within 18 months or within 2 years of talk of them being at 6.25%, that it'll be up to half that. So
right, so it's good news.
So it is good news, and it's good news because lots and lots of people are still on fixed rates that were set 2+ years ago when interest rates were in the region of 1.5%. You could get a mortgage for 1.5%, 2%. And those people will have been concerned that interest rates were staying stubbornly high around the 5.25%. And obviously the prospect that they're still going to be going up if they come off a fixed rate is not great. The only downside of one of the things that's driving this forward is negative economic news coming out of America, which is, you know, they always say if America sneezes, we catch a cold in terms of economy. And so there's weaker employment news came out of America in the last week. Japanese stock market fell 10%.
Having said that, I heard that one of the potential outcomes of that would be a faster lowering of interest rates.
Well, so that's one of the reasons for the faster lowering of interest rates is a prediction that the American economy is the big driver of the world economy. It's been doing fantastically. Ignore what you hear in the election over there. It has been doing really well, better than any other developed country's economy in the last 4 years. And so signs that it's not... obviously, that then, because the Fed haven't been reducing rates in America at the same rate that the rest of Europe has. And so there's talk that they might start reducing rates, which of course then encourages everybody else to reduce rates, and that's one of the reasons why people are predicting rates.
So what impact is this having on the property market here? If somebody's thinking of buying, if somebody's thinking of selling, and I know you always say it depends what part of the country you're in, are you a first-time buyer, are you a downsizer, where are you, etc. But what can you give us kind of broadly in terms of where we are right now for people who are thinking of buying or selling?
Yeah, so I always think nobody wants their value of their house to fall, and 60% of us own their own home, so we don't want that. But equally, you don't want prices spiralling because it stops people getting on the property ladder. So I always think a good rate of property inflation would be a rate of property inflation which is somewhere around standard inflation and wage inflation, so that it remains affordable for people, but they're still getting the comfort of their main asset, their house, going up in value and avoiding any risk of things like negative equity. So we are experiencing property growth in Scotland at the moment of around 2.5%. So that's just above standard inflation and just below wage inflation. So I think that's actually quite a good, healthy level for people. It's going up so that as they're paying their mortgage down, their property value is going up, so that differential is improving. But it's not going up at an exponential rate, which is making it just impossible for people to get on the ladder.
But at an individual level, if somebody's thinking of selling right now, or somebody's thinking of buying, is this a good time?
We are just about to end the school holidays. School exam results out today, and you then you always have a burst of activity when the schools go back and the summer holiday events are out of the way, and you always have a burst of activity in the housing market in the mid-August through to... Well, it's stretched out a wee bit. When I started, it sort of really started petering out when the clocks changed. But it's carried on a wee bit into November now. So we will see in Scotland through August, September, October, averaging about 1,500 properties a month more selling than would have sold in June and July. And May and April are similar numbers to May and April. So if you're looking at selling, the buyers are back out there. Maybe we might have an Indian summer, and we might actually have some decent non-rain weather for people to go out.
Non-rain weather. That's a new classification, yeah.
For people to go out and view the properties, and it's still light enough for people to go and see, and gardens still look good, and all of that type of thing. So next sort of 2.5 months is still a good time to be selling your property.
Okay. Well, if you are thinking of buying or selling at this time and you want a bit of extra advice, then Brian is here taking your calls. 08085 92 95 00. The lines are now open. You can text on 80295. You might be in the rental market, obviously, and there's lots going on there, and also short-term lettings, lots of stories.
Yeah, well, with the exam results you've got now, lots of people looking for where their kids are going to college, university.
Yes,
so.
yeah, absolutely. You might be looking at trying to get either rented, or I suppose you might be looking at trying to buy a flat as an investment over the period of their study. Whatever situation that you're in, give Brian a call and he'll do his level best to sort you out. So 80295 is the text number, and 08085 92 95 00. He's the absolute best in the business. No prep.
Fantastic.
That's good, isn't it?
So
Alright, stop, collaborate and listen. I sit back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly.
Will it ever stop?
Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance, crush a speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly, when I play a dope melody. Anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gain weight. You better hit bullseye, the kid don't play. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, Vegas all pumping, quick to the point, no faking. Cooking MCs like a pound of bacon, burning them if you ain't quick and nimble. I go crazy when I hear a cymbal and a hi-hat with a souped up tempo. I'm on a roll, it's time to go solo. Rolling, hit my 5.0, put my rag top down so my hair can blow. The girl is on standby, waiting just to say hi.
Did you stop?
No, I just drove by, kept on pursuing to the next stop. I bust a left and I'm heading to the next block. The block was dead, yo, so I continued to A1A.
Beachfront Avenue.
Girls were hot, wearing less than bikinis. Rock men lovers, driving Lamborghinis. Jealous, cause I'm out getting mine. Shade with the gauge and vanilla with the 9. Ready for the chumps on the wall. The chumps acting ill because they're full of 8-ball. Gunshots ranged out like a bell. I grabbed my 9, all I heard was shells falling on the concrete real fast. Jumped in my car, slammed on the gas. Bumper to bumper, the avenue's packed. I'm trying to get away before the jack is jacked. Police on the scene, you know what I mean? They passed me up, could run it all, the dope fiends. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Take heed, cause I'm a lyrical poet. Miami's on the scene, just in case you didn't know it. My town, that created all the bass sound. Enough to shake and kick holes in the ground, cause my style's like a chemical spill. Feasible rhymes you can vision and feel. Conducted in form, this is a hell of a concept. We make it hype, and you want us to print this. Shape plays on a fade, slice like a ninja, cut like a razor blade so fast. Other DJs say, damn, if a rhyme was a drug, I'd sell it by the gram. Keep my composure when it's time to get loose. Magnetized by the mic while I kick my juice. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Yo, man, let's get out of here. Word to your mother. Ice, ice, baby, tickle. Ice, ice, baby, tickle. Ice, ice, baby, tickle. Ice, ice, baby, tickle.
You name the place guessers out there with just 2 clues so far. We don't have a correct answer yet. It's still early doors, 10:41. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry, and it also has something in common with Auchenshugel. Those are the 2 clues that you have so far. Ian's going for Ballachulish. Julian Letham is going for Dalry. Somebody else going for Dalry. Strike that one off your list. That's from Ginty in Livingston. And Newbridge is coming in as a guess. Margaret in Edinburgh is suggesting Maggie Knocketer. Now, it's not Maggie Knocketer, but I'm very happy to receive that guest of Maggie Knocketer because it's such a fabulous word, isn't it? Maggie Knocketer. Maggie Knocketer is wrong. Margaret in Blackwood is going for Lanark, and Elsie is downhearted. She says, Aberdare, my second and last try. Oh, come on, Elsie, pick yourself up. Pick yourself up. Let me give you another clue and reinvigorate you. Clue number 3, it shares a component with Gatehouse of Fleet. It shares a component with Gatehouse of Fleet. So you've got 3 clues now. Today's place name has something in common with Queensferry. It has also something in common with Auchenshugel, and it shares a component with Gatehouse of Fleet. There you go. I hope that puts wind in your sails. 80295 is the text number. Professor Carol Huff will be here just before 12 o'clock. I've still got another 3 clues to give you, including the easy peasy clue. It's an anagram, which comes up just about 11:30. So keep guessing. 80295. Now, at the age of 40, with an established career in the corporate world, Danielle Castles decided it wasn't a step up that she was looking for. It was a step out of the rat race. Journalist Claire Cohen made a similar move, and she's written about it, saying that she believes that it is a growing trend, especially amongst midlife women. So, what, if anything, is going on? Danielle joins us. Morning, Danielle.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. We've also got Shan Saba, recruitment expert. Morning, Shan.
Good morning.
Good morning. And psychologist Ros Taylor. Hi there, Ros.
Hello.
Hello. Well, Danielle, I don't think you weren't sort of taking part in some kind of major trend, were you? It was just a very personal decision for you.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, for sort of past 5 years, there was something just sort of simmering away in the background. I had my kids. I've had my academic backgrounds in printed textiles. So along the sides of being within the sort of corporate world, on the side of that, I was doing my sort of my own sort of art business, and it's always something that I wanted to do. But the years had passed, and life just happens, I guess, and you start sort of evaluating what you want in life. And I think when you touched upon being the age of 40, it's not something that I sit down every birthday and think, what am I doing with my life? But I think you do realise that time passes very quickly, especially when you've got kids as well. And with us, with grief as well. So I lost both grandparents quite quickly, close together. And that really sort of hit me, right in the gut. And that kind of stopped everything for me, to be honest. I think that was when things sort of escalated quickly in terms of what do I actually want here and what impact can I make and what can I do. So that's how it started moving on for myself.
But you were giving up a great job, and that's always difficult.
Yeah, massively so. I mean, on paper, I think if someone was to look at it, they'd think I was absolutely crazy. And, I did think that at one point, but it just wasn't ticking the boxes that I needed anymore. And I was lucky enough to have the support of, family, friends, and like my partner as well. And they could see that it was, it's towards the end there. I mean, I left at the start of April, but at the start of the year, I was just a mess. And I don't want, my kids thinking that a job results in that kind of reaction from someone. I want them to see as well, if you're unhappy and you have the means to do it, that they can make a change in things to make it better for themselves. So I decided to just go for it. I was fully aware what I was leaving behind, but staying in that position and how it was making me feel was much more of a risk for me than sort of jumping off it.
And having done it, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm delighted. I feel really relieved, and I can, that was my worry when I thought I'm going to hand my notice in. I knew when I was going to do it, and even just knowing that I was going to do it, it instantly just, the pressure was off my shoulders. And I still feel that way just now. So I feel at the moment it has been the right decision, and I'm giving myself the headspace to think about, what I want to achieve now, which I couldn't do before because I was just so clouded with everything else going on.
You were just in it. I mean, Shan, obviously that was Danielle's personal decision, which she's described beautifully, and a lot of people will relate to it, I think. But are you seeing evidence of other, particularly women, getting to that kind of stage that they're, they're up the ladder, they're doing well, around about 40, and then just think, I don't want it?
Absolutely. And I think Danielle's story is actually much more common than you think. I've seen it happening, and it's been accelerated over the last 4 or 5 years since the pandemic. But, for that demographic, for that age group, what we've seen is that they've joined the workforce at a really bad time. The economic crisis, 2007, 2008, with the promise and the feeling that things are going to get better. But they've not actually got better. And as you climb the ladder or, create your career, and you look and you think in the future and you think, what am I doing this for? It's actually not got better. So Daniel's not on her own, and women, what we've seen in the marketplace is they've had it tougher. There's no way around it. No matter what we talk about equality and diversity in the workplace, it's been tougher, particularly having kids, giving up careers, coming back in or going part-time. They have to step back. So it's extra stress put on. And when you reflect back on how tough things have been, and the outlook doesn't look particularly great, does it, when you look out there just now economically? So what's the point?
Yeah, I think there's been some sort of separate research being done. This was a 2023 report called Why Women Leave. It was by Encompass Equality. And it found that only 38% of women in their 40s said they felt positive about their sort of career and chances for progression. Whereas in their 20s, women in their 20s, it was 65%. So something pretty drastic has clearly happened over the period of that 15 or 20 years.
Absolutely. It's just this view of keep working really hard, chase a career, it'll all get better, you'll get the life you want, the better car, the better house, and it's not materialised. Or if it has, there's a reflection back saying, why have I given up on so many things and potentially affected my mental well-being? Now, this isn't just women, it's just generally the workforce. So that age demographic, personally, this is my opinion, I've had it tougher than any other. And they've come through a really, really tough time, started their career, trying to build it, house prices have been really high, all those types of things. And it's just come to this point where they're saying, game's a bogey, I'm not riding the gravy train anymore, what's the point?
Yeah, gosh, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it in that kind of historical context, but as you explain it, I can absolutely see what you're saying, Shan. Nonetheless, Ros, it's still hard, isn't it, to walk away from something that you thought you really wanted?
I think it is very, I mean, I did it myself, actually, in my 40s as well. It is hard, but women, if they see themselves particularly bypassed, because women work hard, they really do. They put their heads down, they get on with it, they don't grandstand themselves, and I think sometimes that's to their disadvantage. And then they see men going past them, getting the jobs they want a seat at the table, and it's not happening. And of course, the expectations were, just as your previous speaker had said, are that women should be in the ascendancy of the workplace, and because of all that's happened, perhaps recently, COVID, whatever, economic crisis, it's not happened as swiftly. And I think that's pissed them off, and they're looking for alternatives. Now, that might be setting up their own companies, which is not less stress. It's a different stress. It's not less stress. Or people should be seeking out companies that have got fabulous diversity problems and look at the board of directors when they Google them and see if there are women there and go for these companies. Transfer to somewhere that's going to love you.
Danielle, was there an element of the corporate life didn't deliver what you had perhaps as a younger person thought that it would?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first started, it was with an international law firm. So I knew I was kind of giddy about that, thinking, oh, I can climb up this ladder, is the way you were putting it. But as time was going on, I thought, the actual job itself just absolutely was not for me. Especially within that environment, and I just started sort of like seeking other ways to find that fulfillment that I wasn't getting in my job. And at that time I was working 4 days a week, full time, and I had a Monday off. So I started looking elsewhere to do like voluntary work that would sort of fill that gap. And I've been doing that ever since. So from doing that, that's when I thought, the job that I was in is just, it's not going to fill what I want at all. And decided that I just had to look elsewhere and start up my own, which I know is stressful, as the previous person says, but it's a kind of exciting stress, if you like. It's something that I'm in control of, and I'm pushing for it just now, and I just feel really good about it. And I think just having those positive feelings within yourself has just made such a difference, and it puts everything else sort of on the back foot, I guess. And obviously I need to make money. I've got children, we've got a mortgage and that sort of thing.
Well, I was going to say, you must have taken a financial hit.
Well, massively. It completely stopped. But I was aware of that. So as I was sort of mulling things over the past few years, I'm lucky enough to have a rainy day fund that it's been sitting there for years and years and years and years. I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to spend that? You know, like I'm saving